Hi,
Hello.
and welcome to another Does It Suck with Nick, Amber, and Lance.
Hi.
Apparently, I'm French.
Chateau de Amberville. So it was my turn to pick,
Yep.
and I went to the internet and I said, Internet, tell me a good vampire movie that me and my buddies have never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet regurgitated Only Lovers Left Alive.
I think it's like an award winner and like critically acclaimed.
It's an
Yeah,
art film.
it's definitely an art
It's an
film.
art film.
Yep. So
It's an art film.
this week we will be reviewing Only Lovers Left Alive. And the way this usually works is that we will all try and guess what each other gave this movie on the scale from 0 to 10. 0 being complete dog shit, 10 being, oh my god, and then from there, we're going to go into spoilers. So after our scores, spoiler warning.
Yes.
So,
It's on not Freevee. It was on Pluto TV. So I could watch it for free, and I only had to deal with commercials. But even the commercials gave up and got bored. So like
Adjust my number.
for like a second, like it would do like the little blip, like it was about to start a commercial, and then the commercial just didn't happen. I'm like, you too, huh? Hey, stop adjusting my numbers.
Hey, Amber got to adjust, but I get to adjust.
Slight adjustment. I was waffling between two numbers as it was.
all right. So, here we go. Nick, if you had to give this movie a score from 0 to 10, what would you give it?
3.
I still went too high.
So, I had 3 and I bumped it down to 2.
No, it's just boring. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
Shit doesn't happen in this movie. Like shit almost happened in this movie, and I'm like, oh, and then they're like, hey, shit, go away. I'm like, okay, and then shit didn't happen, and then at the end of the movie, they were like, shit's gonna happen, and then the movie's over, and I'm like, okay, like this, I could write down what happened in this movie in like one sentence, two. Like, there's not a lot of shit, and even as like a character piece, they didn't really explore the characters.
Yeah, they kind of talked around themselves a little bit. And,
It's watching it made me feel like it was written by the person who did the music in this thing. Because it,
Oh, it was written by Adam too, huh?
no, that's what it just made me feel like that. Like I bet the guy who wrote this movie,
Was depressed.
like wrote the music. Because
Yeah.
like Adam's music would come on and people would like listen to it and like this is garbage and people are like, man, you're a genius. I'm like, clearly the writer or clearly the musician wrote this. Because it felt very masturbatory.
all right, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
All right.
Amber.
That's an unspoiler review.
Well, yeah, okay, that's not. Amber, 0 to 10.
I'll probably give it a 4.
Damn.
I got that one right.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go into why I didn't give it a 3 because I was leaning towards a 3, and there's a reason I bumped it up to a 4. But let's just put it this way: is it on a list of things I'd ever watch again?
Okay. All right. Not bad.
What about you, Lance?
I would give this movie a 4.
No.
Hey,
I erred on the side of Lance tends to be positive about movies, so I rounded it
that
to
was me giving it a positive rating because I do remember saying like twice, "Lance, don't fall asleep."
So, well, that's just mean nowadays
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so.
it being
But if
quiet
it's
and Lance-
boring,
and
but
Lance
if it's
lined up.
boring, I know, and you're falling asleep, it's going to bump it
Not
down.
that this movie was boring. It was just, yeah, this movie in a lot of ways was kind of up its own ass with like, yeah, like we get it. They're old. They've done stuff, and they're kind of bored with the world.
Which
but-
could be interesting.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Tilda seemed like she was like, you have to see the beauty and like everything, and the angsty music guy was just, yeah, he's just like, there's no new chord. He's like the fucking Roger, and there's no new chords, and everything sucks, and everything sounds terrible, and
Which Roger from
Rent.
Rent.
from Rent.
He was the worst character ever. Actually, he's not. Even Mark was the worst character ever.
I think Roger was pretty
Roger
good.
sucked.
Welcome to our Rent review,
Mark sucked more.
Mark. All the characters.
Sang
They all-
wonderfully.
Yeah, all the characters were bad, especially like the character you're supposed to love the most, killed a dog.
Yes.
So, you know.
Their introduction song is like, "Look, I murdered a dog, and here's the money for you." It's like, I don't like this character now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do love Angel by the end.
Tom Collins is the best character in the whole thing.
I think he's the best, and he steals the bank's money.
You know, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this just I wanted to like the movie, but it's kind of like you said. It's like they would say something neat, like the John Hurt's character was basically
He was Christopher Marlowe.
yeah Chris Marlowe, and
He said he wrote Hamlet, and I was like, this is going into why I gave it a 4. I love the little nods to history, historical references. So them saying that he wrote Hamlet, establishing it as Christopher Marlowe, it circled it back to the whole Shakespeare ripped off Christopher Marlowe theory that is very prevalent these days. I don't know if it's proven. I don't follow that kind of stuff close enough, but a lot of people speculate that Shakespeare just ripped off Marlowe for all of his brilliant plays.
And I kind of like with them talking about like Tesla and stuff like that, and it's just kind of, it was a very name droppy movie. And then he goes out back and like cracks open his little thing with his machine that gathers energy from space, and he's like, man, if humans didn't fucking suck so much, they could be so far ahead of each other. Then it just kind of felt like very like, fuck humans. Like,
oh no, that was you mean fuck zombies? Yeah. They were all zombies.
I get it. I'm living it. Humanity sucks.
I just want to know what was going on with the bathroom. Because, like, homeboy wanted to use his bathroom. He's like, it's still broken. He's like, I can get a guy to come over and fix it.
He just never used the bathroom, I assume.
And I mean, maybe he never installed a bathroom.
It's just the way it seems. Like he had a dude hanging up on a chain in there. I was just kind of like, are we ever going to see what's in the bathroom?
So, it's the gun theory or in film. Like, when you see a gun in the first act, you use it in the third act. So, they're like, I need you to get me a bullet. A wooden bullet. It's like, oh, this is going to come back later. And he's just kind of like, oh, I don't want to kill myself. And then the bullet's done. I'm like, okay.
No,
I guess we were not doing anything. Like, I don't know. Thought maybe like the sister or whatever was going to go fucking nuts, and he had to make like a tough choice. But like, no tough choices, not really.
No
one had to make a choice in this movie.
Throw it out the street.
Yeah,
it's fine.
And she's out of the movie.
But the way they talked about her was like I thought that she was going to be like, ooh, you know, like super powerful, like
she's just unhinged.
Yeah, she was just like that fucking annoying druggy sister.
Oh, it's the follies of youth.
You could tell she was Tilda Swinton's character sister because they both had the same terrible hair.
Well, everyone had to, like, all the vampires looked like they reeked in this movie. Mainly because of the hair.
Well, I mean, it was the hair. I did like the attention to detail, the fact that you never saw any additional growth to Tom Hiddleston's goatee. It stayed that same length, and we never saw him shave or anything. So, because I was very curious what they were going to do about that, because he had like this very thin, very faint, like 5 o'clock shadow of a beard. And I was like, okay, I will like give them bonus points if they actually maintain that and never show him shaving. And they didn't, so that was cool. But I really wish we could have seen like a scene of like Tilda Swinton trying to carry Eve trying to brush her hair, and her hair was just coming out in clumps because she's just dead. No, because she's dead. So okay. That's why it's like, you just don't brush your hair anymore because it just rips it out in clumps. Yeah.
That could be a reason. I mean,
see, like clearly it was probably they have no reflection and therefore can't brush their hair. I mean, I can brush my hair without a mirror, guys. I know how to do it.
I think it's just to make them look more wild.
I think they just don't give a shit anymore. It's like, what was the whole thing from Rick and Morty that the therapist said, you know, you have to do tedious everyday tasks like, you know, wiping your ass or like brushing your hair, but you do it because, you know, you have to do it. It's just what it takes to be part of society. It's like they've been around for so long. You do these menial tasks every day. Maybe it's just kind of like, you know, and it's like, I don't know which one of you said it, but it's like, these guys look like they reek. It's like, yeah, you could taste the characters through the screen. They look pretty grody.
Sister, I got the feeling that she, other than also being like, obviously like the druggy little sister, it felt like her character was very immature. So maybe she was turned at a very young age. Like maybe she was only 15 or 16. Yeah. So she wasn't fully developed. So she's emotionally stunted and on top of everything.
I just felt like she was young. It's like the older people like took care.
Well, they called her sister, so it would make me think like if they were truly sisters, then and Tilda Swinton's character was supposed to be the eldest of all of them, then that would suggest that Ava was also very old. But
Well, Eve even said that she's not. Well, she was not actually my sister.
yeah,
She
must have turned her.
enough. Yeah.
Well, it's so. I mean, I'm wondering if it was
or
just.
Susan Sire
I
or
wonder if
something.
she just got turned by Eve.
Well, then I don't know if it would be your sister. It would be your daughter or something like that.
Well, that's like it's at the end of the movie when they were basically going to bite the two. She's like, "Are we just going to turn them?" And he's like, "What a romantic notion!" Like you know that's not going to happen. So like,
Well, I think they'd do it just because it leaves less bodies.
yeah. No, I got the impression they were going to turn them because they could feed, and then they would turn them, and then they would not have to deal with the bodies.
I mean, Hiddleston could have just been a straight up serial murderer, like serial killer in Detroit. Especially after what they did with Anton Yelchin's body, it was the perfect fucking way to get rid of him.
so-
I will say my favorite line in this movie was, "You drank Ian."
That's when shit was happening that was kind of entertaining. But like, I like how they kind of it felt like a dunk on Detroit to be where you can just take a body and go throw it into the open air pool of
Acid.
fluid that just dissolves body instantly. I'm like, pretty
Yeah.
sure that's not anywhere in Detroit, and it just kind of felt like a dig at Detroit.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah, Detroit's
they
so
do have-
dirty. They've got open air, like they dissolve a body like.
Well, see, they took
immediately.
them to the one of the old automotive plants.
It was chemical runoff or whatever. But
Yeah,
it was
so-
open, it was open air. You would think water and shit would get in there and dilute it a little bit to maybe like it's a good place to throw a body, but like it dissolves it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was great.
was
But I mean,
funny.
it's possible. Yeah, the whole bit where they're having to deal with like Ian and Ava, that was probably the most engaging part of that whole movie.
And that was an hour into the movie.
Yeah, and I really like as soon as they're like, "Oh, Ian, make sure you leave," and they leave the unhinged sisters, like, well, Ian's dead.
Yeah.
Like writing is clear as day on the wall that they're gonna come back.
There was no doubt in my mind that dude was going to get fucking drained. But my question is like, she drained him. Does that mean that he's going to become a vampire?
No, because they said when they came in there, that they legit. Adam and Eve were talking about it, and they were like, one of them said the least she could have done was at least turn him, so they did not have to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't follow the standard like vampire thing where it's like if you drain a person and they die.
It depends. Some vampire traditions are if you drain them, like if you bite them at all, they're vampire. Some is if you kill them with your bite, they turn. Some is if you
Bury them.
If you almost kill them and then feed them your blood, they turn. Some is if you kill them and bury them, they turn. There's so
Yeah,
fucking many
there's a
of them.
lot of different
lot of
versions
rules.
of it. You know, that
There's not really a standard. Hence why I don't think we have that in our.
We don't- yeah, we
don't
don't.
have that particular one in our vampire
no,
tradition.
you don't. But it's one of those things of they made a point of saying that she could have, but they know she didn't.
Yeah, and instead she just kind of went, I guess, fucking rock and roll and destroyed his fucking shit.
Yeah, she's just like I'm just gonna go
she-
into a blood rage.
She just
Like,
didn't give a shit. Like there were no boundaries with her. Like they got her the typo negative. She's like, "Where do you keep it?" And he's like, "I'm not telling you. You'll fucking drink it all." And then later on, she fills up her fucking flask with it. And just starts belting it in front of him at the club. So it's like, okay,
No, don't let them drink blood.
and that was the first time they ever did any like vampire things where he snatched it real quick.
Because Eve was
Give me the gun
Eve
the
was
first
gonna
time.
put the gun to herself, and he snatched the gun from Eve,
Oh,
and he
okay.
did it at super speed.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing they did with the gun, I guess, was to show Eve that
He was
in a bad place.
serious.
He was in a bad
serious
place
that he
emotionally.
might kill himself this time.
Like that was silly to me too. Is that you're going to pay all that money to get a bullet made that was made of wood? So I guess just wood passing through the heart is enough to kill you forever, not leaving the stake in or anything like that.
No, because they seem to imply that they thought Ava was staked in a coffin somewhere, but not actually dead. So it to me, like the way that they said that line, it was like, are they going World of Darkness, where if you put a wooden stake, it
It's-
paralyzes you,
yeah,
but
it's
it
like that
doesn't
stake.
kill you?
You put the stake in so you can like cut off their head or burn the body or other things.
Well,
But again, it varies.
yeah.
And they didn't give us much in this one. They didn't even give us Adam and Eve's age.
Just we know that they were
Married
the
Well,
for
third
150
time.
years.
No, that was their third marriage.
I looked on IMDb and went to like some of the credits. Because I'm like, they named them Adam and Eve. I'm like, okay, are they supposed to be Adam and Eve? But no, apparently that was a coincidence.
Yeah.
He named them after Mark Twain's like The Adventures of Adam and Eve or whatever the fuck it's called. And then like afterwards, he's like people were like, oh, they're meant to be Adam and Eve from the Bible, and he's like, oh, oops, too late to change it, I guess. I'm like, oh, well,
No, so
that would have been nice. But then they mentioned their ages, that Eve is 2,000 and he is 600, and he didn't put it in the movie because characters wouldn't talk about that,
yeah, I mean that makes sense.
which makes sense. But you can find
Ways
some
to
other-
hide it.
You can find some other ways to
The
hint at it.
closest that we
without the
got,
characters directly
the
stating it.
closest that we got was we could almost date Adam's age because they started. He met Christopher Marlowe, and he was around during William Wallace, which both are in the 1500 areas.
And he name drops, I think, a jazz singer.
Eddie Cochran was
Yeah,
really great.
Eddie Cochran. And he's like, yeah, I saw Eddie Cochran perform. And he was like, you saw Eddie Cochran perform? And he's like, oh, on YouTube.
on YouTube.
And he's like, oh, okay.
But no, he name dropped like because Marlowe said he met Adam.
I thought he said, I wished I met Adam before I wrote Hamlet.
You know, but it seemed to imply though that there was an implication that they met around the time that he might have been mortal. And then, but he did name drop William Wallace, which is obviously Braveheart, which I think is 1400s. I've honestly, I've been a long time since I've watched Braveheart. It's never been in one sitting, so I've never actually sat through it from start to finish. So I know what Braveheart's about. I'm not exactly sure the time period, but if he was, the way he talked about it, it's like, I don't feel like he's talking about William Wallace because it's just something in passing that he learned in history. No, he probably was there.
Yeah.
See, I had the opposite on that. It's like they went out of their way to show you how smart these people were. Where it was like, this guy knows like all these physics. And
He knew Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
Newton was what, 1800s?
I
I
just,
don't know offhand.
I'm not a history guy, but and I don't want to start looking up stuff at the phone because I hate when I go back and look at our videos and we're going dip, 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 dip. It drives me nuts. But yeah, it went out of its way to basically tell you that these people were incredibly smart. It had a whole scene where Tilda Swinton was just going through books, running her hands down the page.
Tell that she was really old was because she had a long time to learn
Yeah.
Arabic, Chinese.
I think like French and-
There was it? What's the script for Hindi?
Sanskrit.
Is it Sanskrit? Is that what Hinduism and Hindi is written in?
I guess. That sounds familiar.
But yeah, she was reading like books that all had like super ancient languages when she was packing her bags. God, I would, as somebody at a friggin' airport, I would have hated her bags.
All right, how do we have your clothes?
Like, I just shoved all 3 of these bags just full of books.
Looks
Do you
like-
have a books kit
I guess
together?
during that scene, I wasn't sure if she was doing that thing like, is she lovingly caressing them or is she speed reading them?
So
I felt like she was
I felt like she
speed
was speed reading them.
Yeah.
Because the thing I also noticed that
She
they
was
forgive
looking-
She was reading I imagine if you're speed reading it, you don't then pack it in the book to take so that you can.
Well, no, I think she was speed reading it to see if it had the passage she was thinking of. Because I think she was bringing books that she could use to help pull Adam out of his depression. I felt that was the purpose of the book. So she was finding basically, here are all my self-help books. They range from Confucianism to,
But then the books never came back either. So
we just
I
knew
guess
that
at
she
one point in
wanted to
time
get
it's-
lost in stacks. That was the,
yeah.
But I thought she was like was it called prescience? Whenever you can basically touch something in psychometry, like because the guy asked, he's like, "How old is this guitar?" And she just reaches back and touches it, and she knows exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought it might have been the same thing with the books, where she was basically just running her hand over the pages, and the information was just going into her head. Because I noticed, like in every scene when they were around humans and stuff like that, they're always wearing fucking gloves. So
Again, another thing they don't really want to explain. Which
Yeah, I
I'm not
wish
sure if
they
it was fashion because she came inside and kind of like asked. she asked permission to come in, or I don't think she directly asked permission, but she kind of waited until
He invited
her in. And once he was inside, she kind of like asked permission in a way to kind of remove her gloves and touch his face. And my gut just kind of seemed old fashioned.
I wondered if they also weren't sure how the contaminated blood was spreading, so maybe that was some germophobia in there, because it was always when they were in public that they wore gloves.
Well, it makes them sick. And she talked about you miss the good old days like the plague and this and that. And it's like if there was ever a time that I would be worried as a vampire about drinking blood, it would have been during the fucking plague. But apparently drinking tarnished blood will get you sick because
And kill you.
yeah, because it killed John Hurt. And then
Don't explain what the contamination is. I mean, are we just supposed to suppose it's still AIDS? Is that the
I
contamination?
think it's just all the bad,
just anything.
just all the shit nowadays that people are putting in their bodies.
Yeah.
I think it's you're living in, it's like
and my
you're,
chemicals.
you're living in Detroit, breathing in that awful air, so your
then-
blood is just no good. And
Well, then that suggests that everyone who has type O negative is like fucking Christians who do nothing because
I think it's
was
pure
true.
blood, and then just in the flavor they like.
oh.
So it's like we got Coke Zero instead of Diet Coke.
So just keep in mind, O negative is also the most sought after in the medical
It's
field
the
because it's the
universal
universal donor.
Yeah.
Anybody can receive it. So it's also typically considered probably to be more plentiful because hospitals are always looking for it. So it's probably also the easiest to grab. They might just have a preference for it too, and other reasons, but there's going to always, going to the hospital, you're going to get clean O-neg
Yeah.
is probably the baseline.
And they wasted Jeffrey Wright in this movie. He was just the guy that was handing him his blood. But
For 2 scenes.
Yeah, he was the guy at the hospital. He was also in Westworld, so
he's also the voice of the Watcher on What If.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's been in
he was
plenty.
in Hunger.
Yeah, he's been in plenty these days.
Never seen the Hunger Games.
Oh, I didn't know if you had watched any of those. When
He
you were
was
doing your
Commissioner
reviews.
Gordon in Batman.
The Batman.
The
Okay,
Batman.
okay.
So that's the only one I can think of that I know for a fact you've watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Jeffrey Wright. He's up and coming.
Date Night, hilarious movie.
This one.
No, not
Sequel?
Date Night. Game Night. That's the one with Jason Bateman.
Eventually, I'll ask you to watch.
That one was surprisingly fun to watch.
Yeah, we went into it with no
Low
yeah,
expectations.
super low expectations. We walked out
Or
like,
Date
holy
Night.
shit, that was a good movie. But anyways, yeah, it was. There was a lot of stuff in the movie that I wanted to like. Like, he's so bored with music. There's nothing out there anymore. He was like using a fucking violin chord on a fucking electric or a violin bow on an electric guitar. Like, he's trying to figure out something new because I guess it's all been there, done that. But when he goes to where were they at?
Tangier.
In Tangier, and they hear the girl singing, and he's just like, she's amazing. And it's just like,
I liked her voice. I didn't necessarily like the song.
it was good. She looked like Lebanese Amy Winehouse, like, to me. And just like the song was okay. I dug her voice,
Yeah.
but like the music in the back of it sounded like people like shaking popcorn boxes and stuff. Like, it didn't really catch me.
No, but
I mean, Adam's music didn't catch me either. So
well, what I thought was funny was Lance has been throwing this one out as a possibility for us to watch for about 6, 7, 8 months now. It's been a while.
we were going to watch it because it was on HBO Max,
And then it went off.
And then we sat down on like the first or second, and it had already been pulled off.
Well, I looked
yeah, for like
on Monday, and it was fucking there, and I was like, let's do it this weekend. And then we were just gonna watch it that weekend, and it fucking disappeared. Like,
It's because it's
12 months.
so. But he had done it, and I remember when he was looking at it, he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch this. It's gonna be great." You know, he had high expectations, and I remember looking at it and going, "This looks like an art film. This looks like it's gonna be really boring. It's probably gonna be really pretty." Although a lot of the camera shots, they kept doing that spin, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not feeling like I'm going to get dizzy from this right now. Because it was like, there was a lot of unnecessary camera spinning over overhead shots.
I think there was a lot of camera work, and I'm like, this is beautiful. It's just kind of like, fine, I guess.
So
I think that's
It was very stylistic though
Yeah.
with how a lot of the shots, and
most of this movie is fine but boring.
it was
Not
very boring.
Not shit happens. Like,
And I think there is a predisposition that you're going into a vampire film that you expect there to be some action.
or I mean, it could be a character piece, but I don't think we really explored the characters. There was no like conflict
No.
between them, really, until the sister showed up.
I don't even think that if Adam had shot Ava, I don't even think Eva would have gotten upset at the end of the day. If he had, because she thought at first, she's like, please tell me this is to kill one of us and not himself. And I think if he had shot Ava, she would have been a little upset. But then she was like, I understand you had to do it. I don't think he could do any wrong in her eyes. But I did love, I'm going to buy you a present. Give me all your money.
that's marriage. Yeah, this movie was made by Jim Jarmusch.
I have no idea who that is.
So
I'm trying not to look down now that you have it open. So
I don't have the movie itself, but like he's been. I'm trying to find some of the stuff that you would recognize.
And it's that hard, ladies and gentlemen.
So-
You can't find something.
So Jim Jarmusch is the thing I mainly know about is Kevin Smith basically thanked Jim Jarmusch for like his art style to his movies because that's how he kind of shot Clerks. So I do know that.
I mean, I could kind of, I guess, see similarities in character pieces that aren't really character pieces that go nowhere. I mean, there's certainly a similarity to Clerks there, but Clerks at least has humor.
Has stuff going on and like jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's things even like they leave to go to a funeral in Clerks and they don't show it. They just kind of show them coming back and talk about what happened there. But there was like character conflict.
Yeah.
Like Randall and Dante had like emotions bouncing off each other,
Yeah.
like strong emotions. And this one is like watching a depressed man meet his old wife, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Do you want to go out and like do things?" No, I want to sit here and listen to my music. And then they turn it on, and it sounds awful. And he's like, "You're a genius." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And then they just chill and listen to it.
Yeah.
And crack up.
But
And
like-
what the fuck?
Like when I said,
something.
like for me, I found some of the scenes really pretty. Like they had that one pose scene of Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton naked in the bed, but they were kind of almost, they weren't quite yin yang, but they were both naked, but it was done in a very tasteful, artistic way. That was really a really pretty shot.
And just being together, I mean, it looked nice.
It looked nice, and that's why I'm like, it's pretty because you have multiple scenes that are kind of shot in a way that's like, okay, this I can appreciate the aesthetic here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like the best acting, I mean, the acting is all pretty good. I think Anton Yelchin was the person I enjoyed the acting from the most.
See, was it a vampire? She was acting like a person.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And he was Mr. Fix-It. He was the guy.
It's like, oh, please stop giving me money, sir. You've already overpaid me for everything.
There you go.
Well, even worse than that, like the one thing that I found a little over the top about his character was that he was just like, I need these guitars, and he showed up with like a bunch of fucking old guitars, like stuff that'd be hard to find. Then he's like, I want a bullet with like a wooden tip, and it's got to be like not just any wood. It's got to be this kind of casing with like a hardwood. I'm thinking
Like
an ash or an ironwood and stuff like that. And he's like, whoa, slow down. Say it slower. Yeah, but he was like taking it for serious, like the way he was just like, whoa, slow down, go a little slower. Ironwood found in this thing, and then like next time he comes back, he's like, oh yeah, I got the thing that you wanted, and he's like, what? And he's like, the thing for your art piece. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. And then like hands it over, and he's like, my guy didn't even blink. You didn't like, no problem. Like I need a bullet with a fucking wood tip. The guy was just like, here you go. Like that's just.
I imagine when you walk in and be like, I need a bullet made of wood from like one of these types of wood, and you're like, let me break out my money stack, and you're like, yep, absolutely. Here you go, sir.
Yeah, but like it's just, I thought that was just the oddest thing.
I did figure out how they were probably making money for a while. They could just go and have Christopher Marlowe have like say, you got one of your old scripts, and just be like, We found a lost manuscript of Christopher Marlowe's. Look, it can be authenticated by handwriting. Never before seen in the light of day. He could have just literally penned it like 20 minutes ago. It's like, how much money can you make by doing that? Like, you could just be running those kind of scams. I looked at this going, why aren't you scamming people for money? This is like perfect.
Oh my God, what movie was that when they were like, we found this lost manuscript of William Shakespeare, and like whoever it was made like millions and millions of dollars. Maybe it happened in real life, but like they found another one of his plays or sonnets or something like that stuck in someone's fucking attic. And then they did like the comparison on the handwriting. They're like, yeah, it's a William Shakespeare, which for this movie is basically saying it was Marlowe. So
No. Well, they did at the very end of the Christopher Marlowe stuff indicate that he was too humble of a writer to put his own work out there, so Shakespeare just stole it. So it did get published by Shakespeare.
the words got out there, old man. Or Kid. They kept calling him Kid.
I think it was
Kit.
Kit?
It's either Kip or Kit.
Yeah.
I thought they were
Which
called
is a common shortening for Christopher.
I thought that she
in
kept
the
calling him
olden
Kid
days.
like he was the young one.
I think it's Kit. But Kit is, and Kit or Kip, depending upon the language, is usually a shortened nickname for Christopher.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I actually did, so that's why I was like, and I think I love the movie Shakespeare in Love, and they do reference Christopher Marlowe in that. He's also played in that, and I think they call him Kip or Kit in that as well.
So the one little thing I will say that I did love about this movie is that when they were going down Adam's wall of like people that he admired, and it had like all these R&B, jazz musicians. You had like writers, but there was a fucking picture of Rodney Dangerfield in there too, and that made me laugh so fucking hard because I was like looking at all jazz and blues and like this, and then fucking Rodney Dangerfield was right there, and I was like, my man. I thought that was hilarious.
There's lots of really fun Easter eggs in that.
Yeah, I'm sure Adam doesn't get no respect either.
Oh yeah, no.
He gets a lot of respect when people are coming to his house to try to find him.
Well, if he got married to the same woman 3 times, then Take My Wife, Please was definitely one that he really liked, even though that wasn't originally his. And twice she returned. But yeah, if he wanted to die so bad, why go through the bother of like making a bullet and just walk out in the fucking sunlight?
We don't know if that killed him or not.
It's implied.
but
It's implied that they can't just be walked out into the sun.
they go through like what vampires are so little in this movie.
I think you're just supposed to know.
It relied on you knowing the tropes of
I
vampires.
guess it was also, would you rather, like, you have to die. Do you want to put a bullet in your head, or do you want to cover yourself in gasoline and set yourself on fire?
I mean, it could be the Daybreakers kind of fire.
That's the one where it's like, you walk outside, you're on fire, just screaming like, "Oh God, why is this happening?"
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, but didn't they also at some point with was her name Eva, where she just
Ava,
like she just walked in his place without being invited, and they're like, you know that you're not supposed to walk into a place.
Yeah, I think the me thinking that they're old-fashioned. Like if you're 2,000 years old, you learned your manners back in
Yeah, but
back in aught.
But I think that was just like a tongue-in-cheek thing of saying this is a thing that's believed, but it's not true. She's like, because she was like, "Oh, you guys even believe in the garlic thing now too?" Like it was just.
So I think I was once playing like a little vampire game or whatever, where you were like the first vampire. Someone comes up and like sprays garlic on you. You're like, that's awful. So they're like, "Oh, hurt some," and then they try to like. Okay. Eventually, you get hunters come back and throw garlic at you, and you're just like, "Fucking stop it!"
You're trying to garnish me before you take me down.
It's just like they go to a restaurant one time and they're like, "Oh, there's garlic on everything," and people are like, vampires are weak to garlic. I was just like, no, that's one vampire didn't like it, and then it just fucking caught on.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I wonder if it's they like, "Oh, you have to invite vampires," and it's like, no, we're polite. We're not going to just barge into your house. We're old-fashioned.
Unless you're Ava. And then she is going to barge into your house.
She's not old-fashioned.
She's kind of a dumbass, really.
Yes.
Yeah, but I thought that I was going to be introducing us to something that was going to be like edgy and, like really kind of interesting. But I could say that this movie was a low-key bad movie.
it's done.
I think if you
Fine.
like art films,
Yeah,
you'll
I
like
just-
this film.
I don't like.
It's, for me, this film is like the Alan Wake of films. Alan Wake was the first one. I've not played the second one. I played a little bit of the
Heard good
first one.
things.
The first one, all I felt was they were sucking off Stephen King for like the first act. Like every time I turned around, I was like, Stephen King's so great. Here's another manuscript page of his. It felt like it was just like a love letter to Stephen King, but you were supposed to believe that he's just an epitome of genius writing. And I like Stephen King, don't get me wrong. I don't need to play a game that's sucking him off. And that's what it came across to as me. So no offense if you like the games, Alan Wake, but
In my next movie, it's a phone who attacks people.
And
But I felt like this was, like you said, this was that kind of movie where it's like
an art film, which
it's
some people are into. I'm not really into. And usually, if I'm watching stuff that it's bad, so I like watching bad movies. But that's because usually the acting is funny. It's bad funny, or that like they make decisions. You're like, why the fuck would you make that decision? That's such a weird decision to make. So when people, if like someone comes up to me like, oh, The Only Lovers Left Alive or Blood Rain 2, it's like, I mean, give me that Blood Rain 2 right there.
now, gun to my head, if you told me I had to either watch this or the Vampire's Assistant movie again, I will watch this movie again before the Vampire's
I'll watch
Assistant.
Vampires Assistant like twice before I watch this again.
I would watch this one again because I could at least go down a rabbit hole of trying to explore the historical references that are being dropped, whereas only the Vampire's Assistants will just make me want to go find something to put myself out of my misery.
So
Is it a wooden bullet?
It possibly.
He'll do the job. I feel like this movie probably we would get extra benefit from watching it like one or two more times because I feel like there's a lot of little things in there. Because a long time ago, I did say I like smart movies that don't take you by the hand and like force you through and explain fucking everything to you. I like movies that are smart, that like try and assume that if you're watching this movie, you probably know a little bit about this, so I don't have to basically tell you everything. And I feel like this was like the worst example of that, where it's not only did they say, well, if you know vampires, then you know everything we're throwing in here, but then they took it a level deeper and wouldn't explain the hierarchy of what does kill you, what doesn't kill you. It was just kind of, they left it all very ambiguous.
Well, you don't have to do world building then, so you could be really lazy. You know, but again, like, I enjoyed the droppings of, like, some of the historical references. As soon as they listed off Byron and Shelley, I'm like, oh, okay, so this guy, he was hanging out with the crew that wrote Frankenstein and had the contest to figure out who could write the scariest story. Turns out it was Mary Shelley. And I think they even name dropped her maiden name, or I don't know, there was a Mary Wolfenscott or something. I completely butchered that. That was the one name I wasn't sure on who it was in that particular instance. But he said she was delicious. But it was in reference to his time with Byron. And I'm like, I don't think there were two Marys, so maybe that was Mary's last name before she married.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
I've never been super into Mary Shelley, so
Absolutely despise the movie Frankenstein or the book Frankenstein, but I've read it a lot and I know a lot of information from that.
I've never even fully read it. I've just read like excerpts of it for cool ones.
Apparently, I never had to read it a lot in school.
All right. I've read it 4 or 5 times for English classes, mandatory reading. Mandatory reading. I despise the book.
I got books like The Singularity and Bridge to Terabithia.
No,
I didn't get Frankenstein.
I got like Catcher in the Rye. We
No,
got
that one.
Lord of the Flies.
Did have to read that one.
Never had to read.
Great Gatsby.
I did have to read that one.
I had to read Animal Farm.
Didn't have to read that one. Big Brother.
There was one.
1984, sorry.
The one I can't quite remember where like the guy was had to like keep talking to the old lady about like, and he would bring her like gifts or something. I don't remember what the fuck that was.
That one's
The Baba Yaga.
No, it's
Oh,
Great Expectations maybe.
it might have been Charles Dickens. Haversham. Does that name sound familiar? Because that was who the lady was.
You know the book he's talking about.
Because it was either that, or I was thinking it was the Flowers one for
Flowers for Algernon.
That was the other one I was thinking it could be.
I don't think. Maybe
Where the Red Fern Grows.
I think
That was about a dead dog.
It might have been Great Expectations.
All right.
But I think I got tricked into reading Catcher in the Rye because they're like, this book was recently unbanned. I'm like, ooh, a banned book. And then I read it. I'm like, this book was.
Hey,
It just seems like.
if you guys know, we're gonna have the best banned book library in the district when my child goes to school. If it's on the banned list, it probably means it should be read at this point today.
Yeah.
So I already have a couple of them. A good friend Tim of mine keeps buying my son banned books. So does my girlfriend Becky. So we appreciate banned books for my 3-year-old as long as they're age appropriate.
If I have to read Tango Makes 3 one more time, I'm going to shoot myself.
He does love
With
those.
a wooden bullet?
He
Yes.
does love those gay penguins, though.
The book is fine, but it's just that he keeps picking the book, and it's just like
It's
New
a long
book, please.
I was
It's
like,
a long book.
You've got 80 other books. Just pick another book.
No, he's currently on a Dr. Seuss kick. Do you know, like, Dr. Seuss books are like 60-something pages long of rhymes?
You know, when you have a 3-year-old that's going to adhere to you reading 3 books to him
all
before he goes to bed, he picks 3 of the longest books. It's a fucking game. He knows what he's doing. I know he knows what he's doing. Because now he just picks the longest fucking books. And you're like, you want this book? It takes like 3 seconds to read.
Like, do you want to read this? And I picked up a Dr. Seuss book. She's like, no, I want this one. He picks up 10 Little Pumpkins, which is basically a song book. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little pumpkins. That's it. It's like 3 verses of that song.
He knows what the fuck he's doing.
And he loves
on to
it.
you.
And so it was a very short book.
I'm on to him. Because he keeps picking, like, the Nightmare Before Christmas book. That book takes 10 minutes to read. The Curious George book I read to him the other night, that took at least 10 minutes to read. Like, because you can't just go, Curious George went to the room. You have to be like, Curious George went to the pantry.
It's better.
No, if you do that, he goes, too fast, Daddy, too fast. Then he starts crying. He gets upset. He likes to make it.
Very smart
He likes to.
kid.
Yeah. But I mean, you know,
He wants to be awake for 10 more minutes.
you can't really be mad at a person that loves you so much they're fighting for extra time to hang out with you.
He can. He can be like, I don't want to.
It annoys me. Don't get me wrong. I like my quiet time as much as the next person, but I mean, geez. All right, guys. So I think we've covered pretty much everything we can about this particular movie.
We'll do the scores. And
We'll do the scores and then we'll do the list and then we can give our arbitrary review scores, which I'm trying to still think of what I'm going to say.
So Amber and Nick.
Yes.
Starting with Amber. What do you think the critics gave this? So on a scale like a 7-point blah or an 8-point
on
blah
which site?
on IMDb
Okay.
Is an aggregate for all.
is a point number. Yeah.
That one there, I think, is everyone.
Yeah, it's an aggregate for everybody. Rotten Tomatoes is the one that
Well,
segregates.
I think I saw the one on IMDb when I went to look up.
I'm going to give it a. Let's see. I'm going to say that most people are probably high on it, other than the general audience. So I'll say it's a 6.9.
It was 7.2, right?
And 7.2.
I did see.
It's close then.
Yeah.
I was really close because I assumed that it skewed on the high side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to guess on Rotten Tomatoes, one's going to be really high and one's going to be average.
So
I think the critic one
Will be high.
on Rotten Tomatoes is going to be high.
So
I think it's going to be like an 83%.
83. Okay.
I'm going to go with 86.
86. That's balls on 86% for the critics.
Critics love art film.
Yeah, whereas I think the general audience is probably closer to like 66.
I'm going to say general audience probably 61.
Both too low.
Is that
Wow.
one? Is that one also like 75?
It's 75.
Nice.
75% with the audience, 86% with the critics. So apparently,
Basically, just are shameless people with no taste.
I also know I like shit movies. Like, that's why I watch Blood Rain and have a good time. It's because it's garbage. And when it's time to sit down and watch an art film where you're supposed to like, I'm not into that. It's not fun for me.
I don't feel like this was an art film where I gained anything from it. If I'm supposed to watch this film and be moved by it, this one wasn't for me.
But you could have some sort of character conflict.
Like, I honestly don't think if I've seen it, I don't remember watching it. Memoirs of a Geisha is very artistic. Mm-hmm. I would get something from that one. I know I would get something from that one. That one would have a story that would move me. It's dramatic.
And I've watched it, and think I remember liking it, but not enough to ever revisit.
But it's one of those ones where it's going to be artistic, it's going to be pretty, it's going to have something that's going to move me. But I like my dumb rom-coms. I'm not going to sit there and try and tell you that romantic comedies are going to be the highbrow. I enjoy watching movies like The Devil Wears Prada because it's got a terrible message about body imaging, but I absolutely love it just because I just love it. I don't have to explain why. I just love it. I love the movie 27 Dresses. He knows why. He knows both of those movies by the songs that are playing.
I see. Yeah.
He can walk in the door, hear the music, and goes, "You're watching that again, really?"
And whereas I'd give Josie and the Pussycats a 10 because the movie's fucking amazing. And I'd also give Lost Skull of Cadavra a 10 because that movie's just fucking amazing.
That's a great movie. I would give the movie Legend high marks. It's probably not the greatest fantasy film ever created, but I love it.
It's Tim Curry though.
He is. I've got the most amazing art print in my hall.
Plus, Tim Curry makes bad movies more interesting. Like Congo is like whatever, but Tim Curry's in it, so Congo's better. Doing whatever accent Tim Curry's doing.
Yeah.
The lost city of Zinj.
But
Hey,
yeah,
Tim Curry, let's go.
I love it.
have you noticed that I'll call our son like Lily calls Jack in the movie Legend?
Oh, Jack. Yeah, no, I've seen you do
Jack, oh Jack. One day he will understand what I'm doing, and he's gonna look at me like, "Really, Mom?"
What is it that you made me watch recently where you were saying that like the person was like channeling Tim Curry as Frankenfurter or something like that?
No, that's the voice actor Asterion. For Asterion is like listen to Asterion and then listen to Dr. Frankenfurter and go unhear it.
Sure. So shall we go through the
Yes.
blood dependency,
Yes.
immortality?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
they live until
Something kills them.
immortality is not invincibility. It just means age is not
Okay.
going to kill you.
John Hurt was succumbing to age, but I think he was also slowly being poisoned by that doctor. I think that doctor was intentionally killing him.
Yeah, I think it was just they're such that they have to have a very particular kind of blood to maintain their immortality. And the zombies nowadays are just taking such shit care of themselves that even the vampires can't anymore.
Too many lipids in their blood.
Well, it's
You
just
fat fucks.
the way it came off to me was that basically there's too much disease and yuck stuff out there.
Yeah.
Plus, like you can't do anything these days without cameras being on you or like them figuring out what's going on. So it's like you can't draw heat because you're going to get found out. But at the end of the movie, when it's like all the blood dried up, and they were just like, we're gonna have to fuck around and find out at this point. So
Is it our time to go? It's like, well, look at those people. Oh, they're lovely. Let's fucking murk them. I'm hungry.
Yeah, like it's so who knows? Only Lovers Left Alive Part 2 might be a more interesting movie of them going on a fucking blood rampage.
Please no. Oh, that part would be fun. If it's just them, but no, it's.
But yeah, but they have immortality.
They're immortal.
Sure.
Physical prowess.
I mean,
just the speed.
Yeah, they have speed.
Is all we see. Magical prowess is maybe hinted at with that psychometry or whatever.
Because she was supposedly pushing her mind to everybody from LA. Because she was like...
Everyone had the dream.
They kept all had dreams of her.
And she was like, oh, it worked.
Yeah. So it hints that there's some sort of magical prowess.
Magic blood, which is where we have makes vampires. We do not know.
We don't know. That is an unknown.
Nigh unkillable, I guess because they have to be shot in the heart with wood.
Yeah.
So I would
guess yes.
It seems like
sure.
It. Shape-shifting, we don't know. And there's no hint of it. Distinctive appearance. I mean,
unwashed hair and
we've got fangs in there, but the fangs only show up
when they drink blood.
When they've drinking blood.
So I did make a funny joke. I thought when you see Eve for the first time in Tangier. She's walking around fully shrouded in white, and all you see is the little bit of her face. I go, so she's either a vampire or she's a dark side force user from Knights of the Old Republic. Because she's so pale.
She's almost albino in that movie. She's so pale.
So kind of, because they do have fangs when they feed.
Yeah.
And they're kind of pale.
And they get the feral eyes when they're getting hungry.
Yeah. That was a cool shot. Like at the end of the movie when like they walked up to the lovers and kind of like said excuse me and then like bared fangs. I'm like, oh, and like
I also liked
and then
it.
credits. I'm like, yay!
I also liked it. I also liked it when the guys were trying to sell him stuff, and they're like, "Hey, we got what you need." And he like looked, and their eyes were like the barrel with the outside ring, and he was like, "Not what I need." They're just like,
Yep. No. Yeah. So there's stuff in it that's fine, which is why it's a 3 instead of like a 2 or a 1. So coffin dependency.
but they mention it.
Well, only because they believed that Ava was stuffed in a coffin with a stake in her heart.
Monstrous and predatory. I mean, we've got stalking and hunting in there, but even they don't really do it in this movie.
I think it implied that
Maybe
vampires
one-
used to be, but they have been trying to evolve with the times to stay off the grid, and they
got too hard to murder a man and leave him in the alley.
Well, she tells Hiddleston, "You missed all the good stuff, like the plague and this, and like all these points."
She talked about how they used to just throw bodies in the river Tibbs.
Yeah.
We'll join all the other bodies in
It's
there.
just another body.
I think it's maybe at one point in time, but nowadays, like
You have to be careful.
and fingerprint and cameras. And
It's the other thing of maybe they wore the gloves to not leave
leave
fingerprints,
traces of them.
and also their hands, if they shook a hand, would be friggin' cold. So that was I was trying to think of realistic reasons
Sure.
why everybody wore cold.
That makes sense.
Figure.
I think we're supposed to believe that they are.
I think they're meant to be tragic.
Whether or not you feel it in your soul and all you watch it is up to you, viewer.
Randy,
Not really.
not more so than anyone else.
I never even felt. I felt like they got naked around each other, but I don't even feel like they kissed each other. But
Sister came in, she did it, and I'm pretty sure that the guy in Tangier was doing it with his person.
But not more than.
Not more than normal, but they do it.
No, it's not emphasized. It's not overly. It's not a theme.
it's not hypersexualization.
Yeah, it's not a theme brought to the forefront.
Sure.
So
Okay.
It's the movie's called Only Lovers Left Alive. They're all with their lovers.
Hierarchy.
Yes, because there seems to be some kind of sire system, but
But very weak. I think it's more of like we're friends.
Yeah.
Rather than he's my sire, so I have to follow him.
I made you.
I
Good
think
luck.
he's made all of them.
Yeah, probably. Sunlight weakness. I guess it was implied.
It's implied, but unknown. Other than that,
Holy weakness. They never go into it.
nope, no idea.
Forbidden seems to not be true, but it's just they're polite.
It's taboo to enter a house.
Water weakness apparently only in Detroit, where the water is acid.
Acid, yeah. That's only if you're a zombie.
Which even there's water like acid, but no, that's just acid like acid. So no. So
If someone really wanted to kill himself, just go jump into that vat of acid, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you would not survive that even as a vampire.
it would be quick, but I don't want to go out that way.
And make sure sunlight's shining on the acid, so you're like, it burns, it burns, it burns, it burns.
Silver weakness, they never show them in a mirror either, so we no idea.
They don't cover it.
Garlic weakness, I think not.
No, based off that throwaway line.
Yeah, they did the tongue in cheek like it was superstition. You believe in the in the whole not coming in the house thing. What else do you believe? The garlic bit too.
So blood dependency, immortality, physical prowess, magical prowess. 9 killable, distinctive appearance, kind of monstrous, predatory, tragic figure, and sunlight weakness.
That's a lot of boxes.
So 9 of 19, about halfway through.
Yeah, and I will say perhaps the threshold thing isn't a superstition. Maybe vampire zoning property just doesn't create a threshold.
Which could be too. But I don't know. I got the impression that it's just you wait to be invited. That's just play.
Yeah.
And they're old fashioned. They're play, and they do their murdering in the streets or whatever it was.
I also feel like that Hiddleston owned that house. It's like whenever like all the steel factories like basically bagged ass and Detroit basically fell through. It's kind of like you could move there and just move in anywhere you wanted to.
Yeah, which I think is. I don't know that I doubt he had a deed that said he lived there. He probably just.
Squatted.
Yeah.
And no one gave him any shit.
he's not paying for water. He certainly wasn't paying for gas or for electricity.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it might have just been simply, I've not paid a water bill ever because I don't technically own this building.
Yeah.
Feel free to piss in the garden. Yeah. That's a really good point too. See, if we watch,
It's interesting.
who knows? Maybe if you request enough in the comments, not you, request enough in the comments, we'll watch this movie 2 or 3 more times,
Never.
and then we'll be like, we see like what everybody else apparently sees.
There's stuff in it that could be interesting, but the things in it that are interesting are not interesting to me.
This movie,
Are you
if it was
impressed?
shorter runtime,
A 2 hour.
maybe I would be higher on it because 2 hours, it's slow paced. So I felt the 2 hours. We're trying to watch it while a toddler's sleeping. Although I could probably watch the whole thing with him sitting in the room watching Blippi, and I probably wouldn't have missed anything.
Plus, you could have played it in the room and made him go to sleep. It's Would You Like a Story, Jackson? Watch Only Lovers Left Alive.
So I've been noticing lately that some of our viewership has been creeping up lately. So it's like, oh, good. People are starting to discover us, and then they're going to see this episode and be like, you run a vampire series and don't like the best vampire movie ever? I delete you, sir. Good day.
I think I gave Grand Killing 5. And that's probably one of the better known, well-made vampire movies.
Very high on
Dead
that
and
one.
loving it. Fantastic.
It's just,
I love Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I like stupid shit going on. And I like,
Which means that when I finally get around to one of the ones I've been threatening, Nick's going to be kind of low on it.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but long.
I've seen it once.
I've seen it
long.
twice. It's long, and there's at least shit going on.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
There's character drama.
I need to watch that because I want to watch the sequel, which is I think a
the series?
prequel.
TV show.
No. I want to watch Queen of the Damned.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've seen once in the theater with you.
I've seen it twice.
But
2.5 times.
I want to watch it again because I feel like it's going to be faster paced than Interview.
Probably, but
I want to watch it though.
yeah,
And
it's been a long time since I've seen
The only thing I know about Queen of the Damned is when the girl that was in it, I guess, got murdered.
it.
Leah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Was it murdered?
it was before the movie came out. I think somebody went into her apartment and killed her.
Yeah.
But I remember that happened right before the movie came out, and then it over publicized the movie that it was her last movie.
Well, it's kind of like what happened with The Dark Knight as well.
Yeah.
Like a
Heath.
prominent actor died right before the movie came out, and it kind of elevated it and brought it more to attention.
But
Which I don't think
It
Queen of the
deserved
Damned
it.
would have gotten
No, it probably wouldn't.
as
have.
much attention for being just kind of a weird random. offshoot
It's
of
just because
another
it's a
vampire.
sequel, but it's technically, I think, a prequel to Interview. I think because it takes place before the
Or
events of.
is it kind of like a midquill maybe?
I don't know, but
Interview with the Vampire is Christian Slater at the beginning, interview,
And then
with
it's a
the Vampire,
flashback.
and then kind of going through all of that, and
Yeah, it's a
kind of
flashback.
going back to the present. So is
But then it also has a recasting because it's not Tom Cruise again, and so. But I want to watch it because I don't. It's one of those ones that I've seen it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember it.
yeah, we saw it when it came out.
that
there.
good, huh?
I never watched it again, and I watched it over 20 years ago.
Yeah, I feel
I get
like
that.
Queen of the Damned was.
2001, 2002.
Is it really that old?
Yeah, because I was at the College of Charleston. It was 2002, might be 2003 at the latest, but I think it was 2002.
I think you're right.
Because I was still at college. I don't think I
2002.
was dating him yet.
Yeah, it was 2002.
2002, you got it.
And we started hanging out in 2001.
Yeah, because it was right after I came back
Yeah,
from
because
Tuesday.
we knew each other in high school, but we didn't start hanging out until we were in college.
Yeah, and you, me, and Tim met Kim and her
No,
grotesquely
Lovely
older
people. Lovely people.
boyfriend.
Lovely people.
Her boyfriend was old enough to have a daughter the same
You're
age.
getting
as-
super
I'm
off
just saying
track.
that's weird. That's weird when you're dating someone the same age as your child.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Hey, thanks for watching another great episode. There's only one question that's left at this
Yes,
point.
yes.
Nick, does this movie suck or does it bite?
I don't know. It sucks, or it blows.
Bites is
It bites. It puts me to sleep. It's I don't know. What has a bite that puts you to sleep?
I would-
Jigglypuff?
I would say that this movie bites, much like Tom Hiddleston's vampire face at the end of this film.
I rewound it too. I said, "Did you see his vampire face?" Because she was like,
Oh,
like,
I didn't see it. I saw her face, and,
she-
and then I saw the credits. And I'm like, ain't out.
yeah, no, she looked like joyous, like she was going in for the kill, but he was like,
He scratched his nose up almost like a piggy.
yeah, it was great. I had to rewind that. I said, "Did you see his vampire face?" And rewound it real quick, and it was like, nice.
It's awful.
How about you, Amber?
That's what I did.
Oh, I think this movie.
Did I take yours?
No, it didn't. It didn't suck, which is good, by the way.
Suck is good.
And you know,
Bite is bad.
Bite is bad. I think the movie nibbles. It's okay. I'm not sad that I watched it, but at the same time, it was just kind of like, where is the point and how do I get to it? Like, is the whole movie going to be her
This
trying
mov-
to convince this one guy that like unlife is worth living?
It would have been a movie.
I don't know.
It would have been a movie.
Lance is saying that this movie is stop hiding the old neg and give it to me, damn it.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like this movie was a gigantic metaphor for depression.
Sure.
Except they didn't make me care enough to care about the fact that he was depressed.
Usually at the end of like a depression movie, like they gave you something like some reason to go on or like explore.
Well, he did choose to go on to murder.
Yeah. Just because I guess death was scarier.
No, I
know.
think he was depressed that they were far apart, and now he was with her. And then when they get back, they find out that their blood source is dying.
A part of it.
I just think like,
To take breaks away from
She
each
probably
other on occasion.
she probably just got tired of his shit here and there. Where it's like, "Oh, everything's so boring."
you can only be nose blind for so long.
Yeah.
Wow,
Even if it's just kind of like
wow.
you live so long that you
good.
take breaks from so the person that you're with, so that when you get back together, you get that fresh rush of adrenaline of like, this person I've not seen in like 25 years.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. You have those couples that are together for 50 years, and they're just like, would you please go away? And she's like there for 150 years. And it's like, Jesus Christ, would you die already?
It's like what we've been watching in Gargoyles, where Titania and Oberon took like a 1,000-year break. And just to be like, yeah, I had like, so I had a kid and whatever, but like, I'm still getting back together with Oberon.
My lady does like to get down, or whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you were up to some fun, Titania. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like you go off, you kind of do whatever, and then you always come back to your true love.
It's a big wide world out there. Vampires are swingers, apparently.
Probably. They didn't really go into it because that's usually what meets the Randy criteria for us when the vampires are just kind of like, everyone show up. Let's go. Let's get down.
Dracula and Bram Stoker's Dracula, very horny.
And turning into wolf and being horny.
That was just so bad.
Yeah. It was weird.
You know, like that checked a lot of boxes
No,
for some people,
baby.
but no. If you want to watch a good Dracula movie, Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Or just Dracula. Dracula's fine.
It's okay. That hair, it just drives me nuts.
I like the Dracula hair better than the hair in this movie just because it made him look gross.
Yeah. All right.
No, we can do it.
Thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for our next episode. Only Lovers Left Alive.
No, I will surprise you all with a pick.
Yes.
But we know what she's gonna pick.
I don't actually. All right. Bye, everybody.